All right, so here's our fly control portion of our video today. When I think of fly control, I like to approach it in two different steps. Where can flies reproduce, or where might they reproduce on my property or around my property? And also, what are they attracted to on my property? So I've got goats, the horses, and dogs. And so one thing I found the most important is cleaning up after them. If you clean up after them at least once a day in the summertime, and either haul off the manure or treat the manure pile, your chances of having a high fly population is going to be greatly reduced that way versus just leaving it or having a pile of manure close to your barn or close to your house. Personally, I like to use a lot of diatomaceous earth. This is a great, safe dusting compound. It's actually what we sell at the store is food grade. And it's what it does, it actually dries out the ground, and it actually dries out bugs. So if you use it directly onto bugs, it dries them out and eventually kills them. So this is actually something that I like to use on pee spots. So wherever the horses urinate a lot, that I don't necessarily take that dirt out and replenish it very often. Then I like to sprinkle this on top, and sometimes I'll sprinkle it on top, turn the manure, the pea pile on top of itself, and then sprinkle some more on top. And I actually have my manure taken out every week by my trash service. So I've got dump bins that I put it in, and I will actually put this on top of the dump bins. I found that even helps, because sometimes, I mean, those aren't necessarily airtight, so the flies can just get in and out of there and breed and lay their eggs. And so all that is just a perfect little storm for them to reproduce. So I found this does eliminate, it doesn't allow the eggs to hatch, and so it might not kill a whole lot of adult flies, but it does keep the larvae down. And I've noticed a big difference when I started doing that. And like I said, this is great because if it gets ingested or anything, then it's not going to harm anybody. And you can use it, I like to use it a few times a week usually. My horses are turned out in an arena for the most part. I do put them in the stall sometimes to feed, sometimes if the weather's really, really bad. But I actually clean out the manure out of the arena as well. Because again, I found the more I can keep the manure away from my house, away from my barn, and then keep it in one area and keep it treated, then I don't have as many flies. Another thing you can use are fly traps. Here's one that I actually filled up. These are typically designed to hang, or you can, this one actually will just sit out. You can set it out places. This has an attractant in it. So this is something that you don't necessarily want to have close to your house or close to your barn. You want it close enough that the flies that are trying to hang out in that area are lured away. And so what this does is it attracts them. They can get down in this compartment, but they can't get out, and they'll drown. And so these are really, really great. I found that they can get a little stinky if you don't put in fresh water and attractant. Usually it just depends on how hot it gets. The water will evaporate a bit, so you actually can just add water, but usually you don't want to go longer than probably like a week or two. I mean, every area is a little different. You'll have to try it out depending on how many flies you have and what all is around you. If every single person around you has horses, then your fly population is probably going to be pretty high. But if these do tend to stink, but I found it's more kind of the decaying fly bodies in there. So if you keep it cleaned out and refresh the water and attractant often, then they don't stink as much. What I like to do when I use these is I'll actually, when they're ready to be replaced, you can shut this and carry it without it spilling all over you. But I'll spill this in my manure bin that gets taken out. And that way I'm not dealing with all the kind of nasties that this attracts, but you could definitely, I mean, throw it out. But again, it's that attractant's still going to last a while. So like if I was going to dump it in my arena, I'd dump it away from the house, away from the stalls, and then away from the chickens out there also. And it comes in a few options. There's this smaller one, a larger one, and the way it comes is this is the attractant, which is sold separately. And so it's nice, you only buy this once a season, or even it might last you multiple seasons, and you just replace the attractant. And so it's cost effective, and what I like about it is you're not putting as much into the landfill. So for me personally, that's a big plus, because these bags are disposable. They work great, but for me, I don't like the fact that I might be throwing something like this away every week. but you might not have the option of easily pouring it out somewhere, so the replaceable one is not necessarily a good option for you. So these you just cut out, and again, they're designed to hang, but just keep in mind when you use these, you don't want to hang them close to where your animals are or you might be, because you're just attracting flies there. Also, I really like sticky traps because they last a long time, and you, especially if you use them in conjunction with the water traps, then they it works really, really well. And actually, sometimes what I'll do is this has a little deal on the bottom that you can hang your fly trap from, and so any flies that are getting attracted that don't necessarily go down into this trap will get stuck in the sticky tape. And also we have plenty of options for the traditional kind of hanging sticky tape. I like to use, we also sell these rolls of thin sticky tape, and that's something that during the day when the horses are out in the arena, then I like to actually string it out through the stalls, and then especially like in the goat stall, because they're so short, then I do it basically where the panels are, then I tie it to the panels and string it horizontally across, and it catches flies all day long, and that works really, really well too. And if you just do not have an option, if your horses are turned out on pasture a lot, or you've got them out on the ranch or anything like that, so you don't necessarily, you're not around them to spray them often, these are really, really great. These are applied just as you would a dog flea and tick treatment. Typically they last about 2 weeks. It's kind of the same idea. It's a repellent. This is really, really great for ticks too. So if you're in an area or you go riding often in an area that your horse might get a tick infestation, these work really great because you're not trying to pour stuff down their ears. You're not having to treat them constantly. So you just keep reapplying this, usually about every 2 weeks. And it keeps on repelling mosquitoes, flies, and ticks. And we've got plenty more options at the store. So as always, we're happy to help with any scenario that you have. We're always happy to special order items if needed, but we've got plenty at the store right now ready to go to battle your fly population at your house or your barn. So again, please let us know if you have any questions. Always happy to help. Thank you.